opinion's important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count. Your opinion's important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count. Your opinion's important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count. Your opinion's important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues.
This is Neutral Voices. And we're going to deal with the issues.
We're gonna deal with the
Welcome
issues.
to Neutral Voices, the place where your voice matters. And this is our Voice of the People segment. Yay.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
guess what,
what's
y'all?
going on, Dr.
Guess
D?
what?
Hey,
Voice of the People.
Yes.
Not only are we going to take comments and questions
We
from our
wanna hear
viewers
from
and
you.
listeners, we have an amazing guest
Yes,
in the
yes,
house.
yes.
Hanging out with us in the flex room.
yes, yes.
Who do we have in there? Lady Jai, who is that?
Oh, it's only me.
Who is only
It was
me?
only me.
It's the one and only me, Diane Rogers.
Hey, how you
How you
doing?
doing, Miss
Diane.
Rogers?
How you doing? How you doing?
Good, good.
Diane
How are you?
Rogers, hanging with the Flex team,
Yes.
the Neutral Voices
Yes.
crew tonight.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. And I tell you what, just to kind of fill you in and our viewers and listeners, we have been talking about corruption,
Yes, yes.
and we had good conversation last night about corruption
Yes.
from dealing with racism,
Right.
the law enforcement,
Yep.
and
the
hint,
government,
hint.
you know.
You might know a little bit about that,
Yes.
but we'll get to that.
Yes.
But just dealing with bribery and
Yes,
what
it's crazy.
different things like
From
that.
all different
All
angles.
kinds of
All
angles.
angles.
Things
Yeah.
that we don't
Yeah.
normally expect or see, that it's not everyday evident to us, but it's
Mhm.
always present.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, but we didn't get dirty with it.
Not yet.
That's good.
So-
That's good.
Not yet. We got
That's
time.
awesome.
We got time today.
It's going down.
We save our dirty for Thursdays.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so I just want you to feel free to chime in and conversate with us, because we look at this as just having good conversation
Yes.
with great
Yes.
people.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So whenever you
yes.
feel like it, but before we really get into it, I'm going to recap a little bit from last night. And so last night we talked about, if we can, the definition of corruption. So Jill, you want to share that?
So, corruption defined is dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power, typically involving bribery, dishonest behavior, or misuse of such power.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Man,
So-
and I know we're going to get into this, but rehearing that, I said last night that, bribery, the money aspect is a big part of corruption.
Mhm.
But rehearing that, it just is not money, because I didn't think about this.
Mhm.
Anytime that you use your influence,
Oh yeah, I was going to say.
undo to change or do something. Think about, and it's unfortunate, all these teachers that took advantage of these students. You know, you'll get an A, you'll do this. That is corruption because you're using your influence over somebody
Right.
over to get some kind of gain.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That-
definitely.
wow.
So power, influence, money.
Right.
I mean, it's just it's a whole lot of things.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
It's crazy.
it just reminds me of what's the difference in corruption and blackmail? I mean, you're trying to get something, you're
It's all the
dangling
same.
something
It's
out
all-
there.
Yeah.
It's
so
all
it
in the
all
same
falls in the
corruption.
same-
It's all in the same game.
Yeah, yeah. So, and we also talked about the media
Yes.
and the media influence. So, and how it can really change the way you view things.
Right.
Well, I think it looked like you guys hit everything on the head.
Yeah, we tried to.
We try to.
We're gonna leave some room for you though.
Oh,
But, I mean-
definitely. Definitely. We talked about the United States Constitution,
Yes.
government,
Yes,
and the
yes.
different bribes. One thing that comes to mind, though, that we did not talk about was, can I say petty corruption? Like, I feel like there's small things, and it's corrupted or
Yes,
corrupts
yes.
people, and it goes back to money.
Yes.
But like stealing and things
Mhm.
like that,
Yeah.
so they're small, but then there's major corruption
Right.
that could lead to death.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So just to kind of put size with it. Speaking of that, before we continue, let's take a peek at this video that we have that deals with a different type of corruption. It's still corruption.
Yes.
For example, say you want to help solve the childhood obesity crisis. Well, a pilot program for adding fresh fruit into school breakfast was proposed in California to do just that. However, there was a problem. Food processing companies don't earn money from fresh fruit, only canned and processed fruit. Through their influence, the language in the bill was changed from fresh fruit to, quote, nutritious fruit.
And the funny thing is, we were talking before we came up here. One of the things we were talking about.
Looking behind the scenes reveals that the food processing industry gave over $1 million to 200 state lawmakers in the years before the vote.
So innocent.
The result?
Now, the video.
The bill passed with the changed language, and taxpayer money allotted for fresh fruit was instead used to serve kids canned fruit in sugar syrup.
Breakfast and lunch.
Today, this kind of legalized corruption is happening on an industrial scale, affecting every aspect of our lives, from the air we breathe to the schools our kids can attend to the kinds of cars we drive.
Oh, did we lose it?
Did we lose it again? Well, I don't know. We're still.
I
doing
think we got
secular.
the gist of it,
But yeah,
guys.
but
so we
here's
don't
what
have
it.
to,
he-
we don't have to fuss about
Yeah,
it.
here's what happened. So they changed it, and it was corrupt. What they did, they went in, and we talked about this yesterday. Lobbyists and people. So we talked about the lobbyists and all of these people. So the lobbyists, what they got together, and they went to the lawmakers, and it was like, yo, like E said, I'm gonna throw you a dinner at $500 a plate. I'm gonna invite 200 people, but I need you to change fresh to nutritious,
Yeah.
and that's what happened.
So we can make.
We
that
can make
money.
it. And it was corrupt because they bought what they wanted, and it changed the whole law. But in the video, and we shouldn't be shocked, but it is true.
Yeah.
When the lawmakers, it wasn't just Republicans, it wasn't just Democrats.
Oh yeah.
They bought both sides. So, the corruption is what it is.
Well, and when the media is presenting things to the people, it's not about what the people need to see. It's about what can the person presenting gain. Like that message was intentionally, that's intentional deception.
Right.
But it's very hidden. I mean, nobody will ever watch that if they're not studying corruption and say, I think this is intentional deception. This is exactly
Exactly.
what's going on. So it's so small and subtle, but it's huge. And that's what the media does with a small video
Yeah.
or a huge, massive video.
Right. Small
Well, I mean,
video,
they
small words.
Yeah, they do it in the music industry
Yes.
all the time.
Yes, in the music industry, and just the wording, I'm going to let you get on that, E. The general everyday news. Think about this. And I know we talk about this, but this is a fact. The black and white. All right. If something happens in a minority or black neighborhood, it's the verbiage is totally different.
Man,
Let's
is
look
it?
at Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy that shot the people in Minnesota.
Oh, the hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
yeah.
Go
The
ahead.
misunderstood or misled team,
Right.
the team that lost his way.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was black,
He was a
he was a thug,
a
he was
gangster.
a gangster.
Killer.
They'd have brought up his grandfather gang affiliation, had be it. But and that's the corrupting the reporting because they don't tell the whole story. They curve a narrative to make things look bad
And
for the
people
personal
buy
gain.
right into
Yes.
it.
They do.
Just
They
like
do.
with the
And-
election, and every time Trump says it was rigged, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
You have something, Miss
Diane, did you
Diane?
want to say something?
I'm you know, you have just opened up the biggest can of worms.
I told you we was gonna leave
And-
you some room.
I know, yeah, the big can of worms, and I guess we're gonna keep fishing, keep going.
But
Yes.
yeah, so I just say that with the election, so it just makes me think
Yes.
about how far that just
Right.
kept going, and it's still going.
And it's still
this
going.
far
Yeah, he's planting
into-
that seed.
It's
Yeah,
all the way
still.
in.
Into the
Yeah, all
term.
the way
And
in.
I just want to say something from a white perspective
Oh Lord.
because
Look,
I-
white
I am
with
white.
a capital T.
with a capital T, period, at the end.
Right.
So
Not the period.
if you think about it, I'm from a very small town. It was an all-white school. It was an all-white town. It is still an all-white town. So there was not a lot of diversity unless you went to where the diversity was. So if you take a person from a town like that, whose parents are from a town like that, who's lived not a sheltered life, but a very white life, where are they getting their information about other races from?
Yeah,
From the
white
media. I made
White
I made
media.
a point on another segment where a lot of people, when they drive through a black neighborhood, will lock their doors. However, nothing has ever happened to them personally.
They just heard it.
They just heard it somewhere. So, I mean, that doesn't make them a bad person because they lock the doors in a neighborhood that they have heard so much bad about and little good about. But that is how the media works.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you was hitting on the music. Let us hear.
Well, I mean, the music industry is heavy like that because if you listen to a lot of these artists, and I'm gonna use DMX for example,
Mm-hmm.
they'll play What You Really Want from a Joker. And I'm
Okay,
cleaning-
that's the title of the song.
No.
Yes. That's the
Okay,
title we're gonna
so
use.
we
That's the
can
title
make
we're gonna
Okay,
use.
That's
yes.
the title we're gonna use.
But
Yep.
they will never play
Lord, give me a sign.
Lord Give Me a Sign or his prayers.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he did at least
Right.
2 prayers on every album. And if you went to his concert, he ended all his concert with a prayer.
He opened it and ended it
Yeah.
with a prayer.
So, I mean, you would listen to, they'll let you hear this song, but won't let you hear the positive stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's always like that.
That is so true. So that's a connection between corruption and systemic
Right.
discrimination.
And how they
Yes.
want you to
Racism.
view
Yeah,
the
and
black
then how you
community,
want
to view the
black
black community.
families, black
Uh-huh.
fathers,
Yeah.
black teenagers.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, and like you were saying, if something happened on the south side of town,
Mm-hmm.
they would give you the name of the street,
Right.
the cross street,
Right.
the street behind the street it has,
and,
the
show
street,
and show the businesses connected
Connected to
around
it.
it.
Whose
so
grandma
you
it
know-
was,
Yeah.
all of it.
But
So
if,
you know
if something happened
exactly
on the
where-
north side, they'll
It just
say-
happened on the north
if
side.
something
there.
on the over there on the
Yeah.
north
By
side.
North Crest.
Yeah,
Okay.
and leave it alone. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those situations. It's how they script the narrative, and we have to take the narrative back.
Yeah.
Right.
right.
I have a question for you, Miss Rogers. My question is, as we talk about these things, as we talk about how the media, represents, for instance, the southeast part of town, are you in agreement with, like what I said, for instance, that a lot of times we rely on the media to make our decisions for us instead of thinking critically, doing our research, things like that? I mean, have you, in your experience, ran across that?
Yes, and that's why I still live in my community, because I'm here to say you don't have the proper information.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not told the truth.
That's right.
That's right.
And here to tell you that everyone that I know of, that's a lot of people that's in positions right now making decisions. A lot of them came from the southeast side, so I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
we're still lost.
Right.
Mm.
It's a good. That's a
That was
good.
powerful.
Good
That was
statement.
And
very
you know
powerful.
what? And so Diane, just to put the credentials out there, so can you at this point give us a little history about you
Mhm.
and why you can speak to this?
Well, I as a little girl, this was my community. I was able to ride the bike, as I've said in some of my other stories, and able to knock on the door and ask for an apple or a pear or some grapes if I was hungry. And so this community has been rich with a lot of growing up where we looked out for each other. That has changed over the years tremendously. But one of the things I want to tell you is I love my community. Great people have come from this community, and there's more great people to come from this community. And so I'm here to say that no, you're not being told the truth. So you, just on the Great American Cleanup, just a couple weeks ago, I had probably 22, 24 volunteers, and very few of them were Afro Americans. And they actually paired up, walked the community, and because they were humanitarians.
Right.
And so, as you stated, if that's the only place you can get your information until you do the research to come to find out that that is not true.
Right.
I think the disturbance that we've had in the community just not too long ago, that's something that passed through the community. Just so happened it was in Oxford. But it's just a lot of things that we really do need to address. I'm very honored today for you to ask me to just give my voice to this situation. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm so thankful that you have a platform that really can start open up these conversations so that truth and transparency can actually be the real platform.
That's what we're here for. But and Doc V, I know y'all have something, but she spoke on something, and I just want to get her to elaborate on this about. And when we talked about yesterday with corruption, and with power, oftentimes come corruption and changes. And you said people that are from the neighborhood got positions, and what changed their position when they got a position? Why do their position change when they get a position? You know, if they're standing on a platform and they're telling us this and that, and we support them, but if you notice, a lot of times when they get the position, they
forget
change their position.
Yeah.
And that's corrupt. So if you can elaborate on that a little bit, Ms. Rogers.
I think it has a lot to do with wanting to be part of that establishment or that platform. And for some odd reason, I don't know how that transforms so quick that they forget what causes that. And I know money, prestige, other agendas, favors, and just not being for real.
Yes.
Like
That's
I
a good
said,
aspect.
the south side of town is our election thought.
Yeah.
We only thought about it during election time.
Yeah. And you know, I would never give up on anyone wanting to be in a position to speak on why they take that position.
Right.
But I do know for myself, I can speak for myself. And in my career, I intentionally stayed on the streets. I made myself available for the community. And that is what it appeared that they wanted, but that was not the real agenda of what they wanted. So when they told me that I can work in my community, I can build my house in my community, I'm like, wow, this is going to be a great opportunity to show what it looks like to protect your community. But that was not the real agenda.
When you say they,
the powers that be.
That's a good way to put that. I like that.
Politically
And
correct.
so you said that wasn't the truth. So when we peel back and we get to the core of things and we get to the truth, is that something you want to share or you rather not?
I just think that, you really have to stand on your truth. And that's something that I enjoy doing. I know that it may piss people off.
Yeah.
It may cause them to find fault in me. And I am nowhere near perfect. And I remember my incident that I had that probably made news. I made a couple national recognitions for mess ups. um,
No.
and in that, because I'm human, and I'm also creative to know that if you think that I'm a nobody, that's not true.
Right.
I am awesome every day in every way.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yes, you are.
And so when I fall down, I heard that they say you can get back up,
That's it.
and that's
Yeah.
exactly what I did.
Every
Mhm.
time.
Every time.
And so, and when we do that, that shows some sort of way that you're you think you're different or you think you're special. No, that's why I have knees and I have feet. My feet is for me to stand on, and my knees is for me to bend. But I don't have to bend over for you to hit me upside the head and flip me over for
Amen.
no reason.
Amen.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Come
So,
on here.
my whole focus of why I stayed in my community was to say that a little nappy head girl like me,
Mhm.
and I'm still nappy head,
Bring it
if you want to know.
You're beautiful.
And the little nappy haired girl like me that was told that she couldn't do this or she couldn't read, she couldn't write, and I still struggle with some things. But on the other token is I did have a spirit to love my community and show other people that maybe had more gifts to share with the community, that we all have a role, we all have a responsibility, we all have an anatomy of the community to bring that to the front. And that is what you're doing right now,
Right,
saying
right.
your
We're
voice
trying.
count and what do you bring to the table.
That's right.
But-
That's good.
But Ms. Rogers,
Man.
can you just give us a little bit? How long were you on the streets? And when you talk about the streets, for people that don't know, because we have people in our audience that are not familiar with you, can you tell them what your profession was?
Well, I was actually a Southeast Patrol officer, and I came on in 19. I'm going to tell my age now, but I don't care because.
Because you're looking beautiful.
But thank you so much. I just had a birthday, so
Yeah.
Happy belated.
Happy
Yes.
birthday, babe.
but just to elaborate on that, I had that 27 years. I was able to complete 27 years on the street,
Wow.
and that is an accomplishment by itself.
Right.
And that is something that you have to want to do.
Mhm.
I'm quite for sure I could have groomed myself to do some other things, because whatever I decide to do, I can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a woman of my word, and I make mistakes. But on the same token, I'm still a woman of my word, and I have a heart to say that if I can offend you, I apologize.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going to get the apology back, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But my whole career was not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main reasons why I took that position is because I think might be the only welfare recipient they ever hired. So,
Oh, wow.
so I
Wow.
went to
Wow.
from public assistance to a career
Look at that.
that I was able to accomplish, and
Yeah.
I built my home in the Southeast Side,
Wow.
where I
Wow.
still presently
Yes.
am living. And I was the liaison officer for Oxford for the majority of my career. And now I'm the president of the Oxford Street Association.
Oh, that's
Yes.
good. You still working.
And you know what? We are so
You're still working.
proud
Look
of
at
you.
you.
I just want to say something right there. We are so thankful that one, you chose to do this, because we do
Mhm,
understand
mhm.
that it was a choice,
Right.
but that you wanted to be connected in relationship with people on the South Side. And then let me just tell you, you said it was hard, and I'm sure it was. I know it was. But baby, you did it so well. You made it look easy, and you seemed fearless in
Right.
doing it. So you made us proud. So
Right.
I just want you to know that.
Yes,
And
you
thank
did.
you so much. And the main reason why I did it was people like yourself and other great people in the community that I know that was the glue, and it was holding everything together and bringing the excitement and exchanging wealth and finance and providing
Right.
opportunities.
Right.
And
Mhm.
that was the main reason why I done it.
We
And
need
then it
more.
was right in my front yard, right in my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
Um,
more.
We need
Yeah.
more of that.
Miss
We are
Rogers,
so
if I can
Excited
interject,
about that.
and I know Eve's going to ride with me on this one, but I have to ask a question, and I mean not to offend, but these are questions that we have to ask. Now, here's a problem in our community, and we have seen it not only in Fort Wayne, but all over the country, that the corruption of the policing in our community. Now, why is it more text, strenuous, enforced, or whatever word you want to use in our community? Why do we see more police presence in our community than any other community? And is our crime rate any different from any other community?
Well, I'm going to share something with you that I came across, and it really that when I ran across it, I'm so proud of myself that even before I knew it, I just did what I needed to do. But you have to understand, police patrol came from slave patrol.
Yes,
Oh, man.
preach it.
Go
Preach
ahead,
it.
'cause I was
I
about
was
to-
gonna go there with
we
you,
was
but
about
you
to
we
go
gonna
there.
let you
We
go
was
there.
about to go there, but go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do it.
And so, with that, you have to understand that if anybody can tell me anything that's legal, I will pay you. There's nothing legal. There's a penalty for everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just no way you can get around this harmony of justice that is really a way just to control people and brutalize people. But when you understand slave patrol, then you understand police patrol.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we in every community and throughout the United States, you go to the South Side
Yes.
and you will find people of color,
Right.
great numbers of people of color. But I'm here to tell you, our South Side is really not a Black community. It's a community.
Mm-hmm.
We share it with Burmese, Hispanics,
Mhm.
Caucasians, Africans. I mean, we have so many different nationalities over
Right.
here. So where they saying it's the Black community, it's really it's a community that's a community of economics.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that being said, it still appears that since we have so many people still over here of color, yes, why is it always the target of our Black males and our Black females?
Mhm.
But we've been molded and brainwashed to think that we're not valuable. I would tell anybody to this day, and this is my conversation, and everything that we use today was invented by somebody that looks like us. We have no ownership. And so we really have to understand that this is not, we're speaking out now, but our ancestors or our great grandparents, it was totally different for them. I have my father that's 86 years old, and what he went through in his lifetime and what we're going through, it's always seemed like it's a big interruption every 30, 40, 50 years. Boom, before you take your dirt nap, it's a big transition about something. It's all by design, unfortunately. While we're sleeping, they're coming up with another way to shock us without the earthquake. So we really have a lot of work to do, and that's why I'm very honored that the community allowed me to be the president, because I do know that it is really time for us to police ourselves. It's time for us to knock at each other's door and look out for each other. And I mean, if we have a real serious problem, we have to call the police. Yes, but it's time for us to get out of it. But we're in a real bad place because now there's so many people walking around like zombies.
That's right.
Because they don't know which way to go and don't know where they belong. Or
what do we contribute that to, Diane? When you said walking around like zombies, don't really know where to go, where they belong.
It's in our food. It's in our water.
Okay.
We got fluoride in our water. We have things in our medicine.
Okay. You listen. You get ready to open up another topic. We're gonna be calling you back for a health topic.
Amen.
But
that's what I was gonna say. She's dropping some bombs.
I just said we're gonna be calling you back, honey. Now let me ask you this question, just to go a different direction, real quick. Would you say, or do you believe that the Black man or Black woman, let's just say that, not just on the South Side, but would you say that they have a target on their back?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's not just a target from the outside community. we are targeting each other. That's why it's time for us
Okay.
to
Right.
tear down these walls and
Okay.
and remove some of the the trauma and mental DNA that we carry from one generation to the other.
Yes.
We have to really understand that when they had slave patrol and you were beat thin, and if you had a pregnant mother, that trauma is already been that baby's already been traumatized, and now we're still constantly allowing this behavior to go on amongst us. As I stated, we invented everything. Why we don't have any wealth? It's because we've been brainwashed and sidetracked and manipulated and lied to
Wow.
and cheated and thrown to alligators and crocodiles and thrown over the bridge and shot and no de-escalation. Everything has to escalate.
Right. And separated from
And separated
our
and
families.
yes, and separated from our families.
That's
And you know, I am one of many that I know that is very frustrated with what has really, the curtain has really been pulled back. I mean, we know it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Everybody still want to cover it up and dress it up. But it's an outfit. It's a very, very ugly outfit, and you can see it blocks away.
Wow.
Wow.
You know what, Diane? It sounds like, just you saying that and going down that road, it sounds like trauma giving birth to trauma.
Yes, and that's what we do. And I have to tell you, I'm very honored. I got a chance to complete. I am a 200-hour yoga instructor.
Wow.
And I'm really into some other things where I really want to help my community understand that when we talk about God giving us everything and we depend on God for everything, God giving us everything that we need. He's given us our eyes. He's given us some of our brain, and our focus is distorted because we deal with a lot of interference that interrupts us really being grounded or who we are and how we're to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
We have a community. We got gas stations. I mean, at any point in time, they can just throw a hand grenade and blow up the whole southeast side. I mean, every 5 or 6 blocks, and there's all we can get.
Yes.
So we really have a lot of work to do, and we
Yes.
have let a lot of things move in on us to where we've left a lot for this next generation. So I don't blame them for making a lot of noise. But I mean, what do they have forward? What do they really concede to look forward to?
Right.
And Ms. Rogers, I got a
Yes.
question for you. Can you speak on the Black leadership outside of yourself in our community?
I think one of the things that I notice is that our leadership, they have a way of dealing with the truth. And the truth, some sort of way, is dressed up to look like we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it when we change the laws and change the mindset of the people that serve people. You're not going to, we can keep having conversations and conversations and conversations. And I'm just here to say it starts with us working with each other, one block at a time, one house at a time, one block at a time, and really being transparent. And there's a lot of people we're not going to be able to save now. I mean, they're just not going to listen.
Right.
Right.
Because they've thrown their hands up. I mean, they're crawling. They're not even using their feet anymore. They're
That's
just crawling.
Right. Wow. And
Crawling
you know
through
what?
life.
And you know what? Things change when the people with the power are
Right.
the ones that are corrupt.
I mentioned
Yes.
that
In
earlier.
our community.
Yes.
But Miss Rogers, you said something, and I don't want it to go by. You said our leaders have a way of dealing with the truth.
And they dress it up another way.
Yes. Yes.
And they dress it up another way. And I know how that can happen. And some of you know how that can happen. But it's really time for accountability. When someone steps and says, yes, they want to do this and they're going to do that, it's like, where do you start? Where's the accountability? Can you keep your word? Because they'll tell you one thing and they'll do something else. And it's just time for leadership to be accountable for what it is. I mean, as the neighborhood association, one of the things I guess I can mess up a little bit. I don't get paid. I mean, for my time, you know, I'm going to probably make a few more mistakes, but I don't get paid for what I do. I get, and sometimes I don't get paid attention. It appears that, but
Right.
I see now there are some people that are paying attention.
Yes.
They don't want to let me know that they're paying
Yeah.
attention, but they're paying attention.
Yes.
And they've been watching me fall down and get back up, and I'm quite for sure they fell down and got back up. But some kind of way they covered that up.
Okay.
But it's okay.
Uh-huh.
But we all have a responsibility to make people be accountable for their actions and what in them keeping their word, because really that's all you have is your word, and that appears to be the dinosaur age or something. It appears that they find it hard to stay on course.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you had another
No, go
question? Okay. Listen, so I was just wondering, from a different perspective, Diane, so when we start talking about the issues and where we can fix these things in our community and with leadership, sometimes we have a problem identifying who the leaders are in our community. So when you think about leaders, who would you want to partner with right now to get some work accomplished, to actually make some changes in our community? If you could speak to them right now and they're listening to you, who are some of the people you think could make some things happen? So speak to that for me.
I think
and that's hard if it can't come to mind, but
that's including, that includes everyone that's pouring into someone. Then large numbers of people.
Yes.
People that are in positions that they are actually pouring and directing people in a certain direction.
Yes.
And do these people really know which direction they're going, or are they just follow the leader? We need to quit following the leader until we really know where we're going.
The leader is going.
Right. We follow people. We don't even know where they're going.
They lead.
Right.
They don't know where they're leading us to.
I mean, I look at like the leader gotta be a good follower first and foremost, because they got to get their instructions from somewhere. And we look at people that's rah in the community doing all the fight to power, and they have no instructions. They're just sitting there making a lot of ruckus.
And not only they don't have any instructions, they're terrible communicators.
Right.
Okay? Like I say, they say one thing and do another.
Or they're silent.
Or they're silent, or some kind of way they disappear. They disappear.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is accountability. It's about accountability. Until you have accountability.
Yeah.
And we're human. We're going to mess up. That's one thing about learning. And it's not the experience, it's how you react to the experience. And we are just so out of control. We escalate so fast because we're so tired of being a target.
Right.
Oh my God. This is, we talk about corruption. One of my biggest problems that I have, and I have 2 daughters, and I work with children, and it's all the Black women that are missing in the United States, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you want to talk about corruption? Where are they?
Where are they?
We don't talk about that. I mean, so we have so many things, and when you don't have accountability, all those things get to still be silent.
And you know what, Diane, when you say that, you make me think of the 3 L's. So I'm going to say them real quick, and then Clarence, you can do your thing. Lower our community as far as low socioeconomic status,
Right.
and then lack of political representation,
Right.
and limited access to justice.
Yes.
So a lot of times Black people in our communities and homes, etc., we cannot afford attorneys, and we just have to settle for whatever. We don't have the right funding to be able to pay for good representation, and so we just in a bad place. And so when you start talking about the missing women, I thought about that before.
And it's very unfortunate that when someone like myself, like somebody looks like me, and I come to another person that looks like me, and I share information with them, they don't want to believe it. But if somebody else come and tell them that don't look like me, they'll believe them.
Right.
Now, it is, we just got all these things, these barriers, and
We
these
do.
things that's in the way. And when you don't have real conversation and you don't have accountability,
Yes.
then these things go silent,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
they just keep going silent. And you never get it. You never get anything resolved. You never get a place where somebody can really take a deep breath.
Right.
That's
You
right.
know.
Our giants are sleeping, and that's
Yeah.
what we have mentioned
How do
before.
we
So we
wake our
gotta.
giants?
I was gonna say, so we need that representation, but we need them to do something. So not just speak and then step back.
Well-
But
We
one
need
of
to
the
move
other things
forward.
that really bothers me, and I'm just speaking for myself,
Mhm.
for the people that actually do the work, and I thank you so much for giving me, let my voice be heard.
Yes.
But the people that actually do the work are not the people that actually get to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I give you a 5-star.
And you
Thank
speak
you.
of the work, Diane. Do you think that the dream died when Dr. King got killed?
Oh no, it didn't die.
Mhm.
It was just distorted like everything else is.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We've had great leaders that has come about, that are rising up, and the hardest thing for them to do is, that's not it. You got to understand, everything that's good is bad, and
Mhm.
everything that's bad is good.
Right.
Mm.
And when you have that kind of distortion, people don't know who to believe.
Right. So
You
the
know,
dream is very
They don't know what to
much
believe, who to
still
believe,
alive.
and that's kind of back to when we were talking about
Well,
media.
yeah.
And wow.
Well,
okay.
Ms. Rogers, and we're going to let you out of here, but I have a
Yeah.
couple of questions, and this is pertinent to our community, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I understand your profession. But we had just come out of the George Floyd situation, but since George Floyd, we've had numerous other black men killed since George Floyd, and you also mentioned it when you talked about these young ladies. Do you think we are being targeted, for one? That's the first question. And secondly, what is the training for the police department? And I want a broad spectrum, but what is the training for the police department? Because you mentioned de-escalation and other things. What is the broad spectrum of how it's trained to deal with the community? Because it seems different, because we've seen many white people that had the same thing happen, or, have been confrontational with the police and walked away, but the innocent black man ends up dead.
Intentionally.
Intentionally, and as I stated, if you look at how police patrol came about, the patrolling was to patrol the slaves,
Mm-hmm.
and all kind of crime went on in other communities, Caucasians communities, or that was not that were part of the plantation. They took care of it themselves, but they patrolled us. They whooped us, they beat us down, and you couldn't say nothing. You still can't say nothing.
Hmm.
So the training, it's missing the truth that we're human.
Mm-hmm.
It's still in our constitution that we're not 100% human. So
Yes.
Yes.
as long as you have all these things to justify that we're nobody, it's just time for us to stand up and say, yes, we
Mhm.
are.
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
do that by, we call the police to our house for the most pettiest things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things that, but because we don't take the time to get to know our neighbors, and then some of our, people are moving around so much now because of economics, whatever the reason is.
Mhm.
But we're missing it. And
Mhm.
so, unfortunately, it appears that this is a playground.
Right.
This is
Man.
not a playground. This is where our children live. This is where I live. This is where I grew up. And this is not a playground. This is a community. And
Right.
yes,
Yes.
I'm quite for sure some of the officers today, I mean, some of the things that they have to deal with as officers, I mean, when I left, I mean, my timing, me and my timing in the spiritual world is like in sync. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so the training, I think what would really be beneficial for this community is to really get a council of citizens to say, no, we're not, we used to have those kind of things. And, it's just time for the good old boy system to rest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what needs to be buried. It's
So
the
you
good
said
old
the
boy
people
system.
need to speak up.
The people need to speak up.
stand and
They
put
need
some
to speak
action
up.
to it.
But, people are, you have to understand we're in a state,
Emergency.
we're in a state of emergency, but we also in the state that say they can fire you for any reason.
Right.
Right.
At will.
So
At will
at
state.
will state. So
That's
you're
it.
in that situation. But like I said, you tell me one thing that's legal.
That's right, Diane.
I mean,
Invisible
tell me what's
shackles.
legal. There's a penalty for everything.
You
There's a
are so
penalty
right.
when you walk on the sidewalk. It's a penalty when you ride a bike. It's a penalty if you walk backwards if they want you to go straight.
Yeah.
And it's a penalty if you wear glasses. It's a penalty if you're fat, if you're short, if you have an education, if you don't have one. It's a penalty if you live, and it's a damn penalty if you die.
Amen.
Amen.
Wow. So that just leaves us with this question. Has the dream become reality yet? Are we still waiting on things to manifest from the king's dream? Where are we?
We are really, really separated. I have to commend the young people. They just not having it. I mean, nothing makes sense. I mean, you're sending them to college. They leave college with a $100,000 debt for
Right.
college, and there's no jobs.
Mhm.
There's no housing. I mean, we're in a place, and until we start taking care of each other and we start asking for accountability, demanding for accountability, and actually taking nothing else less than accountability.
Accountability. Wow.
And until we do that, and then we're transparent, and we want to be transparent of where our leaders are taking us. And if they can't tell us where they're taking us, they're taking you nowhere.
Wow. And you know what? That's powerful what you just said. And Diane, I told you already. So, I like to say this is part one, but
Yes, we gotta have her
I get
back.
it because we got to get
We
out
gotta
of here.
have her back.
I didn't tell you I was going to keep you this long, and that you was gonna,
Well,
but listen, you were saying some awesome, amazing things and things that we needed to hear. And I can tell you one thing that I'm going to take away for sure from what you have shared with us is accountability. That's always been a great word. And I tell you what, I'm going to see if my panel has anything else to say, but I just want you to know that accountability, I know you said that several times, and I hope the community understands what accountability means and what it looks like. So, Clarence?
Yeah, just one last question.
yes.
And it goes back to when you were saying to understanding our leaders have a different understanding of things. Is there ever a time we're going to get out of that old way of thinking, the mental, enslavement mindset that we have to conform or we have to accept? Are we ever going to get past that mentality?
I think every generation has to fight for freedom. And that is just the law of the universe. When you have the 1% constantly holding down the other 99%, every generation has to fight for freedom. So until we understand, and the more we come together and keep peace amongst each other, there really doesn't have to be a fight. And so until we wrap our minds around the fact that we only get, some people believe that we come back or however. If I come back, I want to come back as an eagle.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because then I can go real high, and you got to come real high to come and get me. But I just think that we procrastinate, and we leave when we see somebody doing the right thing. We really don't take the time to compliment. We don't edify each other enough.
That's right.
And we don't embrace each other enough. We don't support each other enough. And until we start doing some of those things, then that's when a lot of these other things will somewhat disappear.
Wow.
Yes.
That's that Michael Jackson right there. That's healing the world.
Yeah,
I
heal
mean,
the
that's the
world.
start,
Right.
and that's where we need to start it, because I know one thing as we close. Diane, you are always doing amazing things in the community and giving people the opportunity to partner with you to help and assist.
Yes,
So
yes.
I love that, and I'm just so excited and happy
And thank
that
you
you
so
were
much.
here with us tonight to spend time with us.
We appreciate
And
you
I mean,
so
we
much.
have so many
appreciate you.
people leaving comments and they want to ask you questions, but we do have to get out of here.
But I want to tell
So-
you one thing. I'm gonna say these words, and these
Yes,
are my
babe.
father words. And you know, having the privilege to take care of him at this day and time, and being still with him is so powerful. You can't buy it on Amazon. You can't get it at the mall. You can't read it in a book. You have to be present so you can get that reaction from that experience. And my dad says, if you're doing something, it'll show, and if you're not, it'll show as well.
Wow.
Wow.
That is beautiful,
Yeah.
honey. Did she just close
She
us?
just closed
Just
us out.
closed
She just closed
The doors
us
of the church is open. I'm not going to touch that.
Listen, Eve was going to give a final quote. You just said it.
Yeah,
That was beautiful.
beautiful.
And
Hey.
we just want to thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Yes, and to our viewers and listeners, thank you for hanging out with us.
Don't
This
forget to
is
subscribe.
Neutral Voices. Yes, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. And this is the Voice of the People with Neutral Voices. We will see you next time.
We'll see
Thank you,
tomorrow. We'll see
Diane.
Thank
tomorrow.
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you so much. Awesome, Miss Diane Rogers. Love